Hey guys. So, as we all know, the kids are not all right, okay? And that's because everybody's not all right. Everybody is still, like, we could go down the list of, like, still dealing with effects from the pandemic, psychological effects, just like grief that wasn't really allowed to be felt. A lot of social dynamics were skewed. uh, Life as we know it changed. The over reliance of technology, being bored of technology, being sick of technology, um, not having a lot of options when it comes to jobs. It looks like we're going to be hitting a recession. List goes on and on and on. And I think a lot of teens are facing the fact that there's not a lot of hope for their future. Okay. When I was growing up, I'm a 90s baby, you really felt like, oh my God, you had options, you know? Even though I think the chances were always slim to none, you still felt like you had more options. You could be an actress, or you could try to slum it as a waitress and then try to become an actress, a musician. You could just have a number of like factory jobs. It just felt like a sea of opportunity. And now it just feels like the world is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and choices are becoming smaller and smaller. And the kids are not all right. A lot of parents have entrusted technology to positively affect their child. A lot of people have gotten lazy, right? So you probably got dad chatting with a hentai robot, and you probably got mom looking at a Pilates instructor, and the kid just doesn't have anything to do. There's a lack of community centers. There's a lack of after school programs. There's a lack of after school activities. A lot of those things are getting slashed by budget cuts. So we've got hopelessness, we've got lack of options, we got lack of after school programs. Parents are checking out. We got lack of role models, lack of hope. And lack of hope is one of the most destructive things that you can have. It's actually something that they've been able to kind of measure in psych rehab, and there's a lot of evidence that shows that hope is one of the defining factors when it comes to not committing suicide, when it comes to recovery from a mental illness. You need hope to get through life, because life is going to be a shit show. Life is going to have the ebbs and flows, and you need that hope to believe like, okay, this sucks, but it's not going to suck forever. And I'm going to be able to climb out of this, right? And I don't think teens have that. So in Jersey, we have one mall, and we know malls are struggling. They're a dying industry. Amazon has made sure to kill off that. And, you don't see as many brick and mortar stores. A lot of malls are kind of ghost towns. So the first mall, Menlo Park Mall, which is a mall I go to, and because of TikTok, there was a meetup of like 300 kids. And I passed by the mall at night and I saw all the cop cars, and I'm like, what happened? I thought it was something for McDonald's. I was like, oh, maybe the McRib is back. I just rationalized it. I was like, I don't know what that is. And then I found out the next day, and it was like 300 kids, and that they were just unruly. I wasn't there. They arrested some of them because some of them then ran across the highway. There's Target from the mall, and they were like destroying stuff, and they were like stealing stuff. It's not great. That's not a great demonstration for where society is. If we were taking the temperature, we're like, oh, let's see how it is. If we were measuring for like bacteria and like in a pool, like, is everything good? Or the water, right? This, is everything right? All of the bacterias would be like at 1,000%. E. coli, the brain eating one, all of it. We're screwed. I was going to say something else. We're screwed as a society. We are. So that happened last week. And then this past Saturday, so 2 days ago, because it's Memorial Day. Woodbridge Mall, which is not far from Menlo Park Mall, and that one is in even worse shape. Menlo Park Mall has stores that are like, if you had to go like on tiers of economic level, you got Woodbridge down here, you got Menlo here, you got Short Hills way here. Short Hills Mall has Tiffany, and it has like probably Chanel. Like, it's got all the, like, you know what I'm saying, the brands that still have to have security guards outside. It's got all of that, right? So Woodbridge is like, they were like easy pickings. They had all these, like, you know, stores that were like not that pricey, and they've closed so many of them. So the same thing happened again. There was another meetup, another TikTok meetup. They got 300 teenagers, did the same unruly mess that they pulled in Menlo, they pulled in Woodbridge. How many of the kids were the same ones? I don't know. I don't know if Woodbridge arrested any of them. But it's not great. It's not great. Like, we're getting closer and closer to a Mad Max situation. We have a society that is just, it's all about fleeting fads. You know, I think any sense of decorum has gone out the window. I think empathy has gone out the window. I think the want or the need to feel proud of oneself, to have character, to have empathy, to be an honest person, to be an honorable person, that has gone out the window completely in the United States. I think that's very rare, you know? And I think in some levels, yeah, you always have to be careful with anything with humans, because our issue is that we take something and we take it all the way to the extreme, you know? So like communities that are heavily religious, that ostracize a person for being different, if it's a difference that isn't hurting themselves or others, right? I think that is an issue, and that shouldn't exist. But we can't also go all the way to the other side of the spectrum and have just kids running up in malls, just acting a mess, and just, they have no direction, they're aimless, they have no mentors. You know, where are the parents in this? What are you doing? Do you know what? That's 300 kids that were able to participate in something where they could have gotten hurt, or they could have hurt other people. And so those are, okay, let's say 500 parents, right? Because I was gonna double it up and do 600, but let's say, like, you know, some parents pass away, some parents are not in the picture. So let's say roughly between 500 parents, right? Where are y'all? How do you not know what your kid is doing? How do you not know who they're gonna be with? How do you not, like, just check maybe the first handful of times to make sure that everything is on the up and up? What is happening, you know? And if your kid is doing too much on the internet, where are you to step in and to try to limit that? Listen, I also give a lot of credit and empathy to parents, because having to parent in this technology-based hellscape is also just seems so insanely difficult. But you can't let your kid go and do some junk like that. What's going on? Maybe if society stopped building all these ridiculous apartment buildings that no one can afford, and maybe built a handful of community centers every now and then that actually had free things, not something where you have to pay for a membership, and actually had mentors that could provide these kids with some sort of guidance, maybe we'd have less of that. You do have people who want to work, just people don't want to make pennies doing this insane job. I'm job searching right now, and it's abysmal. It is abysmal out there. It's awful. I can't look for a job in the mental health field, because just having a bachelor's, you're gonna be screwed when it comes to the pay and to the amount of work that they think that you should do. So it's not gonna happen until I have my master's. I would be better off finding a camp counselor job, a job tutoring kids, same amount of pay, a lot less work, a lot less headache, a lot less problems coming from administration. When I say a lot less work, I don't mean, you know, when you work in the mental health field, you know what you're signing up for. But I've had friends who've worked at these places, and because the stakes are high, the upper management will guilt you and try to make you do more hours. They'll try to make you do more unpaid labor, or just you're working yourself down to the bone for pennies. No, that's not okay. That's not okay. You got to pay people what they're worth. So you got CEOs and their budgets aren't dwindling. Pay people what they're worth. You want them to do such a hard job. So I really don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of anticipating, like, maybe in the fall, I'm kind of anticipating seeing a story like teenagers ate each other in a Zoomies, in a closed out Zoomies. I'm kind of preparing myself, because we seem to have these real honest to God problems, and there are no solutions. There are no just like, or there's no like action that is just across the board, like that matches kind of the severity of the situation. So I'm sorry, that took me a while, but it's like the actions that people are taking are like small, tiny. They're, you know, kind of moving. They're kind of trying to move the, you know, like, no, we need like a full, like, everyone's hands on deck, all on board, trying to figure this situation out. And I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't know. I keep seeing videos and comments online of people like, I hate the internet, it sucks, I'm happier now that I've deleted social media. I might use it once in a while, but it's not, you get bored, you move on, you get tired of it. Over and over again, I've seen people say that, and yet we're still seeing issues in society. We're still seeing people log on. So I have no idea. I don't know. I feel like we're just getting closer and closer to a Mad Max situation. Like, read books, paint, draw. I don't know what else to tell y'all. Things are going really bad. But yeah, if you guys are from Jersey, if anyone was actually at the malls, let me know what you guys saw, how people were acting. Let me know what you think, because it just feels like, again, Brave New World. Things are getting bleak. I don't know. And I hate to leave on that note, but, you know, I'll find a fluff piece, you know, love each other, y'all, because I don't know. I really don't know. Things are getting dark, but I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.